The grand halls of the Galactic Council buzzed with activity. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved about, their voices a mix of clicks, whistles, and rumbles. Among them, a small figure stood out. It was a child, no taller than a human's knee, with big eyes and blue skin that sparkled like stars. The child's name was Zira. She came from a peaceful race called the Lumina. Her people lived on a far-off planet, always keeping to themselves. But now, Zira was here, all alone and scared. 2 days ago, Zira's homeworld was attacked. Big ships came from the sky, shooting and destroying. Zira's parents put her in a small ship and sent her away. Go to the Galactic Council, they said. They will help you. So here she was, looking up at the tall aliens around her. Zira tried to speak, but no one listened. They were all too busy. She felt lost and alone. Suddenly, a loud voice boomed through the hall. What is this? A tall green alien with 4 arms stomped toward Zira. He wore shiny clothes that showed he was important. Who let this little pest in here? Zira shrank back, her sparkles dimming with fear. Please, she said in a small voice. My home. It's gone. I need help. The green alien's eyes narrowed. Gone. What nonsense is this? He grabbed Zira's arm roughly, making her cry out. You shouldn't be here. The council has no time for little runaways. From across the room, a human diplomat named Sarah watched. Her heart raced as she saw how the child was being treated. This wasn't right. The Galactic Council was supposed to help those in need, not hurt them. Sarah started to move forward, but another alien stopped her. This one was tall and thin, with skin like tree bark. Don't. It whispered. The council doesn't like it when others step in. But that child needs help, Sarah said, her voice shaking with anger. The tree-like alien shook its head. Watch and learn, human. This is how the council really works. Sarah could only watch as the green alien dragged Zira away. The child's cries echoed through the hall, but no one else moved to help. It was as if they couldn't even see her. The green alien took Zira to a small dark room. He pushed her inside and locked the door. Stay here until we decide what to do with you, he growled. Zira huddled in a corner, her blue skin now dull and gray. She thought of her home, her parents, and wondered if she would ever see them again. Tears fell from her big eyes, each one glowing softly in the dark. Outside, Sarah paced back and forth. She couldn't believe what she had seen. This wasn't justice. This wasn't right. She had to do something. Sarah found a quiet spot and took out her communicator. With shaking hands, she sent a message back to Earth. Urgent, she wrote. Witnessed cruelty to alien child at Galactic Council. Request immediate action. As Sarah waited for a reply, she thought about Zira. The child's scared face was burned into her mind. How many others had the council treated this way? How long had this been going on? Sarah's communicator beeped. A message from Earth. Report received. Continue observation. Do not act yet. Sarah frowned. She wanted to help now, but she knew she had to be careful. The Galactic Council was powerful. One wrong move could make things worse. For the rest of the day, Sarah tried to find out more about Zira. She asked questions, listened to whispers, and watched the council members. What she learned made her blood run cold. The council wasn't just being cruel. They were hiding something. Something big. And Zira, this innocent child, had stumbled into the middle of it. As night fell on the Galactic Council's world, Sarah made a promise to herself. She would help Zira, no matter what. And if the council stood in her way, they would learn a hard lesson. Because Sarah wasn't just a diplomat. She was human. And humans had a long history of fighting for what was right. Little did the Galactic Council know. Their actions today had set something big in motion. Humanity was about to show the galaxy what it was made of. And it all started with one small blue child named Zira. The news spread like wildfire across human space. From Earth to the farthest colonies, People watched their screens in shock and anger. The story of Zira, the small blue alien child, touched hearts and ignited fury. Sarah's report had reached not just Earth's government, but also the public. Someone had leaked the details, and now everyone knew about the Galactic Council's cruelty. On Earth, in the busy streets of New York, a crowd gathered in front of a giant screen. They watched as images of Zira flashed by, along with pictures of the Galactic Council's grand halls. How could they do this to a child? A woman cried out, her voice shaking with emotion. "We have to do something," a man shouted, his fists clenched in anger. Similar scenes played out all over human-controlled space. In the red deserts of Mars, miners put down their tools to join in the outrage. On the icy moons of Jupiter, scientists paused their work to discuss the situation. Even on distant Proxima Centauri, Earth's farthest colony, people were talking about Zira. They may have been light years from home, but they felt the same anger as their earthbound kin. Back on Earth, in the halls of power, leaders met in emergency sessions. The president of the United Earth Alliance, Elena Rodriguez, stood before a room full of grim-faced officials. "We cannot stand by while an innocent child suffers," she said, her voice firm. "But we must be careful. The Galactic Council is powerful. We need a plan." Admiral James Chen, head of Earth's Space Fleet, spoke up. "Madam President, our ships are ready. Say the word, and we'll show those aliens what happens when they mess with a kid." But others urged caution. "We can't just rush in," said Dr. Amit Patel, Earth's top diplomat. "We need to use our heads, not just our hearts." As the debate raged on, outside the government buildings, the people made their voices heard. Crowds filled the streets, carrying signs and chanting slogans. "Justice for Zira," they shouted. "Humanity won't stand by." In orbit around Earth, on the giant space station Freedom, human and alien visitors watched the protests below. Many aliens were surprised by the humans' reaction. Why do they care so much about one alien child? A reptilian trader asked his human friend. The human, a teacher named Mark, tried to explain. "It's part of who we are," he said. "Humans have a long history of fighting for the underdog. When we see someone small and helpless being hurt, something in us just ignites." As the day went on, the outcry grew louder. On social media, #JusticeForZira became the top trending topic worldwide. Artists created touching images of the blue alien child, which spread rapidly across the net. Celebrities and influencers joined in, using their platforms to demand action. Famous actors, musicians, and athletes all spoke out, adding their voices to the growing chorus. In schools across human space, teachers held special classes to discuss the situation. They talked about empathy, justice, and the responsibility of standing up for others. As night fell on Earth, the government finally made an announcement. President Rodriguez appeared on screens everywhere, her face serious but determined. "My fellow humans," she began, "today we have seen the true face of the Galactic Council. Their treatment of an innocent child goes against everything we believe in. We cannot and will not stand by." She paused, letting her words sink in. "But we must act wisely. We are preparing a response that will show the galaxy the best of humanity. We will rescue Zira and any others like her. We will show the Council that cruelty has no place in a civilized galaxy." As the president's words echoed across human space, a sense of purpose filled the air. Humans everywhere felt united in a common cause. They were ready to act, ready to show the galaxy what humanity stood for. In her small dark room in the Galactic Council's building, Zira huddled in a corner. She didn't know it yet, but an entire species was rallying to her aid. Help was coming, carried on a wave of human determination and compassion. The Galactic Council had no idea what they had started, but they were about to find out. While the public raged and protested, behind closed doors, Earth's leaders put their plan into motion. In a secret underground base beneath the Rocky Mountains, a special team gathered. General Maria Cortez, a tough woman with gray hair and sharp eyes, stood before a group of Earth's best soldiers and spies. "You've been chosen for a mission of utmost importance," she said, her voice stern. "We're going to rescue Zira and show the Galactic Council that humanity is a force to be reckoned with." The team listened closely as General Cortez explained the plan. They would sneak into the Galactic Council's headquarters, find Zira, and bring her to safety. It wouldn't be easy, but they were ready for the challenge. Among the team was Jack Chen, Earth's top hacker. His fingers flew over a holographic keyboard as he spoke. "I found a way into their systems," he said, grinning. "They won't know what hit them." Next to Jack stood Aisha Okafor, an expert in alien languages and cultures. "I study the Council's security protocols," she said. "I know how to get us past their guards without raising suspicion." As the team prepared, Earth's space fleet was also getting ready. In orbit, massive warships gathered. They were hidden behind the moon, out of sight from the Council's watching eyes. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of his flagship, the EF's Defender. He looked out at the stars, his face grim. "I hope we don't have to use these ships," he said to his second-in-command. "But if the Council wants a fight, we'll give them one they'll never forget." Back on Earth, in the United Nations building in New York, Earth's diplomats were hard at work. They had a crucial job: keep the Galactic Council distracted while the rescue mission was underway. Dr. Amit Patel, Earth's chief diplomat, adjusted his tie as he prepared to address the Council via hologram. "Remember," he told his team, "we need to keep them talking. Every minute we buy it is another minute for our team to find Zira." As Dr. Patel began his speech to the Council, filling the air with long, complicated words about trade agreements and space treaties, the rescue team boarded their ship. The ship was small and sleek, designed to slip past the Council's defenses unnoticed. As they took off from Earth, cloaked in the latest stealth technology, the team felt the weight of their mission. "For Zira," whispered Sofia Rodriguez, the team's medic. She clutched a small medkit, specially prepared for the young alien's unique biology. As Earth grew smaller behind them, tension filled the ship. They all knew the risks. If they were caught, it could mean war. But the thought of Zira, alone and afraid, steeled their resolve. Meanwhile, on the Galactic Council's world, Sarah, the human diplomat who had first reported Zira's plight, continued her secret observations. She walked the grand halls, her eyes and ears open for any information that could help the rescue team. Sarah's heart raced every time she passed the room where Zira was held. She longed to help the child now, but she knew she had to wait. "Hold on, little one," she thought. "Help is coming." As Earth's fleet hid behind the moon, and the diplomats kept the Council busy with talk, the rescue ship neared its target. The team checked their gear one last time. Weapons were loaded, stealth suits were activated, and communication devices were tested. Jack Chen sat at the ship's computer, his fingers poised over the controls. "Ready to hack their systems on your command, Captain," he said. Captain Erica Daniels, the team leader, looked at her watch. In just a few minutes, they would enter the Council's space. Everything had to be timed perfectly. "Remember your training," Captain Daniels said to her team. "We go in fast, we find Zira, and we get out. The fate of Earth Council relations rests on this mission. Failure is not an option." As the rescue ship approached the Galactic Council's world, the team felt a mix of excitement and fear. They were about to make history. Whether that history would be a triumphant rescue or the start of an interstellar war remained to be seen. Back on Earth, millions held their breath, waiting for news. In her dark room, Zira huddled, unaware that her life was about to change forever. And in the Grand Council chambers, oblivious to the approaching humans, the alien leaders continued their debates, not knowing that their actions had set in motion events that would reshape the galaxy. The stage was set. The next few hours would determine the fate of not just Zira, but of humanity's place in the galactic community. The The human rescue ship slipped silently through space, its stealth systems working perfectly. As they neared the Galactic Council's massive space station, Captain Erica Daniels gave the order. "Okay, team. It's time. Jack, start the hack." Jack Chen's fingers flew over his keyboard. His face was tight with concentration as he worked to break into the Council's security systems. After a tense minute, he grinned. "We're in, Captain. Their sensors are blind to us now." The ship glided towards a small, unused docking port. With a soft clank, they attached to the station. Captain Daniels turned to her team. "Remember the plan. Get in, find Zira, get out, and watch each other's backs." One by one, the team entered the station. Their stealth suits made them almost invisible. They moved quickly and quietly through the empty halls. Meanwhile, in the main council chamber, Dr. Amit Patel was still talking. His voice was getting hoarse, but he kept going. He had to keep the council distracted. "And now let's discuss the finer points of deep space kelp farming," he said, noticing some council members starting to doze off. Back in the halls, the rescue team faced their first challenge. Two large, insect-like guards stood in front of a security door. Aisha Okafor stepped forward. She clicked and whistled in the guard's language. "Routine inspection," she said. "Please step aside." The guards looked at each other, confused. But Aisha's perfect accent convinced them. They moved aside, allowing the team to pass. As they went deeper into the station, Jack Chen worked on hacking door after door. Each one opened silently before them. But time was running out. They needed to find Zira fast. Suddenly, Sofia Rodriguez's scanner beeped softly. "I'm picking up Lumina life signs," she whispered. 2 levels down, about 100 meters east. The team rushed towards the signal. Their hearts pounded with excitement and fear. They were close now. But as they turned a corner, they ran into trouble. A tall green alien, the same one who had been cruel to Zira, was walking towards them. For a moment, both sides froze in surprise. Then chaos erupted. The green alien shouted for help. Captain Daniels acted fast. "Plan B," she yelled. The team dropped their stealth and sprinted towards Zira's location. Alarms began to blare throughout the station. In the council chamber, the alien leaders looked around in confusion. Dr. Patel's voice trailed off as he realized the rescue mission had been discovered. The team raced through the halls, dodging shocked aliens and security drones. Jack Chen worked furiously on his portable computer, trying to slow down the station's security systems. Finally, they reached the door to Zira's room. It was locked tight. "Stand back," shouted Rodriguez. She placed a small device on the door. With a soft hiss, the lock melted away. Captain Daniels burst into the room. There, huddled in a corner, was Zira. The small blue alien looked up, her eyes wide with fear. "It's okay," Daniels said softly, kneeling down. "We're here to help you. Do you want to go home?" Zira hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Daniels scooped her up gently. "Okay, team. We got her. Now let's get out of here." But as they turned to leave, they found their exit blocked. A group of angry council security guards stood in the hallway, weapons raised. "Surrender now, humans," the lead guard shouted. "You have violated galactic law." The team looked at each other. They were trapped. But then Zira spoke up. Her voice was small but clear. She spoke in the guards' language, telling them about her home, the attack, and how scared she had been. The guards hesitated, lowering their weapons slightly. This wasn't what they had expected. Taking advantage of the confusion, Aisha stepped forward. She spoke to the guards, explaining the situation. Some of the guards looked unsure now. Suddenly, a voice came over the station speakers. It was Sarah, the human diplomat. "Attention all council members and security personnel. What you are witnessing is a rescue mission. The human government could not stand by while an innocent child was mistreated. We ask for your understanding and cooperation." There was a long, tense moment of silence. Then, slowly, the lead guard stepped aside. "Go," he said quietly, "before I change my mind." The team didn't wait. They rushed back to their ship, Zira held safely in Captain Daniel's arms. As they undocked and sped away from the station, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Zira looked out the ship's window at the stars. For the first time in days, she smiled. She was safe. She was going home. And she had the humans to thank for it. The news of the human rescue mission spread across the galaxy faster than a supernova. Every alien species from the core worlds to the outer rim was talking about it. The Galactic Council, once seen as all-powerful, had been outsmarted by a group of humans. In the Grand Council chamber, chaos reigned. Alien representatives shouted and argued. Some demanded immediate action against Earth. Others praised the humans for their bravery. The council leader, a tall being with shimmering scales, called for order. Silence. His voice boomed. "We must discuss this calmly." But calm was in short supply. The green alien who had mistreated Zira stood up, his 4 arms waving angrily. "We cannot let this insult stand. We must punish the humans." To everyone's surprise, a small furry alien from a peaceful race spoke up. "Why?" it asked. "The humans did what we all should have done. They helped a child in need." This started another round of shouting. More and more species were questioning the council's actions. Why had they been so cruel to Zira? What else had the council been hiding? Meanwhile, on Earth, the mood was tense but hopeful. President Rodriguez stood before the world's media, Zira by her side. The small blue alien looked much happier now, her skin sparkling brightly. "We took this action because it was right," the president said. "We will always stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves." Across human space, people cheered. They were proud of what their species had done, but they also knew that challenging the Galactic Council was dangerous. Everyone wondered what would happen next. Back in space, Earth's fleet remained on high alert. Admiral Chen paced the bridge of his flagship. "Any sign of Council ships?" he asked his crew. "Nothing yet, sir," a young officer replied. "But we're keeping a close watch." In her quarters on the ship, Zira was being checked by Dr. Sofia Rodriguez. The medic smiled as she finished her exam. "You're doing great, little one," she said. "We'll have you home soon." Zira chirped happily in response. She had learned a few words of English and was eager to use them. "Thank you," she said. "Humans good." On distant planets, other alien species watched these events with great interest. Many had their own stories of the Council's cruelty. They had been too afraid to speak up before. But now, seeing what the humans had done, they felt braver. On the desert world of Xantar, the reptilian inhabitants gathered in their cities. They talked excitedly about standing up to the Council. "If the humans can do it, so can we," they said. In the deep oceans of Aquarius Prime, the jellyfish-like floaters sent messages of support to Earth. They had always liked humans, and now they admired them even more. Even on the fire plains of Vulcania, where the rock-skinned natives rarely cared about galactic politics, there was talk of change. "Perhaps it's time we took a more active role in the galaxy," their leaders mused. But not everyone was happy. The species that had benefited from the Council's unfair policies were worried. They sent angry messages to Earth, threatening war. In response, Admiral Chen ordered the fleet to spread out, protecting human colonies. "We won't fire first," he told his captains, "but we will defend ourselves if attacked." As tensions rose, Dr. Amit Patel worked tirelessly. He talked to every alien species that would listen, trying to build support for Earth. "We don't want war," he explained. "We just want a fairer galaxy for all." Many listened. The humans' actions had sparked something in the galaxy, a desire for change, for justice. Species that had never gotten along before found themselves agreeing on one thing: the Galactic Council needed to change. As the Galactic Day came to an end, no one knew what tomorrow would bring. Would there be war? Or could this be the start of a new, better era for all species? On Earth, Zira looked up at the night sky. She pointed at a bright star and turned to President Rodriguez. "My home," she said softly. The president nodded, her face serious. "We'll get you there safely," she promised. "No matter what it takes." As humans and aliens alike watched their screens and waited for news, one thing was clear. The galaxy would never be the same again. And it was all because of one small alien child and the humans who decided to help her. The tension in the galaxy finally snapped. A group of Council loyalists, angry at the humans' actions, launched a surprise attack on a small Earth colony. Admiral Chen's voice was grim as he reported to President Rodriguez. "They've hit New Eden, Madam President. Civilian casualties are high." The president's face hardened. "So be it," she said. "If it's a fight they want, it's a fight they'll get." "Admiral, you have permission to engage." Across human space, the call to arms rang out. Ships that had been hiding behind moons and asteroids now moved into attack formation. The battle for the galaxy had begun. On the flagship Defender, Admiral Chen addressed his fleet. "Remember your training," he said, "and remember why we fight. For Zira, for justice, for a better galaxy. Let's show them what humanity can do." The human fleet jumped into action. Their ships, sleek and advanced, surprised the Council forces. Years of preparing for this moment were paying off. In the first clash, near the planet Proxima Centauri, human ships danced around the larger, slower Council vessels. Laser fire lit up space like a deadly fireworks show. Captain Erica Daniels, now commanding her own ship, led a daring attack run. "Aim for their engines," she ordered her crew. "Let's send them home with their tails between their legs." Her ship swooped in, dodging enemy fire. With pinpoint accuracy, they took out the engines of 3 Council ships. The alien vessels drifted helplessly in space, their crews shocked by the human skill. But the Council forces weren't giving up easily. They called in reinforcements from all over the galaxy. Soon, the space around Earth was filled with ships from 100 different species. On Earth, civilians watched the sky nervously. Protective shields shimmered around major cities, a last line of defense if the fleet failed. In a secure bunker, President Rodriguez and her team worked tirelessly. They coordinated the defense, but also reached out to friendly alien species for help. Dr. Amit Patel's earlier diplomacy was paying off. Messages of support poured in from across the galaxy. The floaters of Aquarius Prime sent ships to help defend Earth. The reptilians of Santor offered their advanced cloaking technology. Even some Council members were turning against their leaders. They had seen the truth in humanity's actions and wanted change. In orbit around Mars, a massive space battle raged. Human ships weaved between asteroids, using the rocky field for cover. They sprang trap after trap, catching the Council forces off guard. Jack Chen, now the chief of Earth's Cyber Warfare Division, launched his own attack. His team of hackers broke into the enemy ship's computers, shutting down weapons and life support systems. "Take that, you big bullies," Jack muttered as another Council ship went dark. But the battle wasn't all one-sided. Earth took hits too. Colonies were damaged, ships were lost. Every victory came at a cost. In the medical bay of a human destroyer, Dr. Sofia Rodriguez worked frantically to save wounded soldiers. Humans and friendly aliens lay side by side, all fighting for the same cause. As she treated a young ensign, Sofia thought of Zira. The little alien was safe on Earth, watching the battle unfold on the news. "We have to win," Sofia thought, for her, and for all the others like her. The turning point came in the Battle of Jupiter. A massive Council fleet thought they had trapped the human forces against the giant planet's gravity. But Admiral Chen had a trick up his sleeve. "Now," he ordered. Suddenly, 100 ships appeared from behind Jupiter's moons. It was the combined fleet of Earth's new allies. Floaters, Santarians, and others who believed in the human cause. Caught between two forces, the Council fleet panicked. Ships collided as they tried to retreat. Others surrendered on the spot. As news of the victory spread, cheers erupted across human space. On 1,000 worlds, aliens who had lived in fear of the Council felt hope for the first time. The battle wasn't over yet. The Council still had strong forces, but the tide had turned. Humanity had shown the galaxy a new way. A way of standing up for what's right, no matter the odds. As the Earth fleet regrouped for the next fight, Admiral Chen looked out at the stars. "We've come so far," he thought, "and we won't stop until the galaxy is free." The battle raged on, but now everyone knew. Change was coming to the galaxy, whether the old Council liked it or not. The Great Galactic War lasted for 3 long years, but in the end, humanity and its allies emerged victorious. The old Galactic Council was no more, its corrupt leaders either captured or fled to the far corners of space. Now, on a beautiful spring day on Earth, representatives from 100 alien species gathered in New York. The United Nations building had been expanded, its roof open to the sky to accommodate visitors of all sizes and atmospheric needs. President Elena Rodriguez, her hair now streaked with gray from the stress of war, stood at the podium. Beside her was Zira, no longer a small child but a confident young alien. They smiled at each other before the president began to speak. "Friends, allies, fellow inhabitants of this vast galaxy," Rodriguez said, her voice carried by translators to every ear in the room. "Today, we come together not as conquerors, but as equals. Today, we form a new galactic community." A cheer went up from the assembled aliens. Tentacles waved, wings fluttered, and bioluminescent skin flashed in excitement. Admiral Chen, now a respected elder statesman, nodded in approval from his seat. He thought of all those who had sacrificed to make this day possible. Dr. Amit Patel stepped forward, carrying a large document. "This is the Charter of Galactic Rights," he explained. "It guarantees freedom and fair treatment for all sentient beings, regardless of their species or planet of origin." One by one, representatives came forward to sign the charter. The reptilian Xantarians, the jellyfish-like floaters, even the rock-skinned Vulcanians, all pledged to uphold these new galactic laws. When it was Zira's turn to sign, the room fell silent. Her people, the Lumina, had suffered greatly under the old council. Now she was helping to build a better future. As Zira signed her name, her skin sparkled brightly. She turned to the crowd and spoke, her voice clear and strong. "Let this be a new beginning," she said, "where no child of any species ever has to suffer what I did." Her words touched everyone in the room. Many remembered the small, scared child who had started it all. Now, they saw a leader who would help guide the galaxy into a brighter future. The ceremony continued late into the night. There was much to discuss: how to govern fairly, how to solve disputes, how to explore the galaxy together. But it wasn't all serious talk. As the formal meetings ended, a great celebration began. Humans and aliens mingled freely, sharing food, drink, and stories. In one corner, Jack Chen was teaching a group of curious aliens how to play poker. In another, Dr. Sofia Rodriguez was comparing medical techniques with doctors from a dozen worlds. Captain Erica Daniels, now Admiral Daniels, was deep in conversation with alien ship captains. They were planning joint exploration missions to uncharted parts of the galaxy. As the party went on, President Rodriguez slipped away for a quiet moment. She found a balcony overlooking the city and the star-filled sky beyond. Admiral Chen joined her. "Quite a view, isn't it?" he said. Rodriguez nodded. "Did you ever imagine, when we started this, that we'd end up here?" Chen chuckled. "Honestly, I thought we'd be lucky to survive. But I should have known better. Humanity has a way of surprising everyone, including ourselves." They stood in comfortable silence, watching the celebrations below. Aliens who once would have feared or hated each other were now laughing and dancing together. "We've got a lot of work ahead of us," Rodriguez said, Building this new galactic order won't be easy. No, Chen agreed. But look at what we've already accomplished. I'd say we're off to a good start. Just then, Zira found them. She was breathless with excitement. You have to come see, she said, tugging at their hands. We're planning a grand tour of the galaxy to introduce all the species to each other properly. And guess what? They want me to lead it. Rodriguez and Chen shared a smile. This was what they had fought for. A galaxy where a child once victimized by cruelty could grow up to be a leader and explorer. As they rejoined the party, fireworks began to explode in the sky. Each burst of color seemed to represent a different alien world, all coming together in a beautiful display. The galaxy had changed forever, and it all started with one act of kindness, one stand against injustice. As humanity looked to the stars, they knew that their greatest adventures were just beginning. The new galactic age had dawned, full of promise and hope. And in the end, that was the greatest victory of all.